I want to make a stool, but not just any stool. I want to make it with found wood. I want to just fill it with art, and I want there to be a secret compartment. Oh, no good sign. Glue. Oh, forgot the glue. Oh. I want the design to be fairly simple. I'm going to use a wooden cookie for the seat with the bark still on. I want to use branches that I find for the legs, and then use this circular thing to connect them. The center is rotten, which is too bad. Can almost dig it out with my fingernail. That's not a good sign. Oh, so I just found a great log. Only problem, it's a little bigger. Doesn't look like it'll be rotten on the inside, which is nice. It's a bonus. Let's do it. "16 inches. That's even shorter. That's perfect. Awesome." Whatever. All right, so here's the deal. This cut went pretty smoothly. The last ones, not so much. So the next one I do needs to be perfect or close to perfect to be able to make this piece usable. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to find another log and do this whole thing over again, which would be brutal. Boom, done. So, I found this lovely piece of ash, this thin, long, completely dry thing that was standing, and it's ready to go. I want to make an indent in the seat to make it feel better. And I sharpened these yesterday, so we're all ready to go. So I just finished carving out the seat. Looks amazing. I'm a little worried about the bark, but we'll deal with that later. Next is to make the legs. They're a little rotten, but should just be able to cut that off. The tree that I chose had been standing for a while, which is why it had quite a few cracks, rot, and maybe even some holes from a few woodpeckers. That's why I'm using a draw knife to spruce them up a little and to make them all the same size. The plan. I've got to drill some holes for the tenons or the mortise, the dowelly one. I don't have a drill press, which is a bit of an issue because ideally you would set this on the drill press, you'd angle it, and then you get the perfect angle, and then you just drill right through, keep it all nice and stable, clamp it down, be nice and easy. I don't have a drill press, so I made this lovely little jig out of some scraps. The plan is just to clamp this down onto the log, put this in here, and then just kind of hold it in that spot. And then hopefully that'll do the job. I've done about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 practice holes to get a feel for how to do it. Oh! And out of that, I had maybe 2 that are good, 1
that's usable,
and the rest of them are like pretty bad. So let's do it. Some jig, there's so much movement. Oh, I'm almost better just freehanding it. Ooh, 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 no. Oh boy, that was bad. Well, I'm gonna finish it freehand because that jig is awful. There we go. First hole done. So it's kind of funny because I just did a practice one with going like this, going straight in and then just going on my own angle. And it turned out better than the ones I used the jig for. So it would have been nice to do that on the practice ones, but you know, that's still got 2 left here. So no more jig.
The second 2 holes actually went really well, way better than the first 2. It's time to move on to the legs.
Whew. So I just finished cutting these on the bandsaw. There's some good wedges. I'm pretty sure they're called tenons or the mortise, who knows. And these are going to go into here. This is the stool until it just goes above it. Oops. And then I'll hammer this into it, widening it. And then we'll have the lovely joint, frictional hold it in place. Glue. Oh, forgot the glue. And I'm going to use glue all around it and inside it to hold it all together. Whew, close one.
While I was using the jig, it kind of created these 2 gaps on either side for 2 of the holes. And to fix that problem, I'm going to fill it with sawdust and wood glue.
Boom, all done. It's looking lovely. Just a bit of the bark came off when I was hammering, which is too bad, but I'm gonna glue it back on.
And make the footrest, after cutting the legs and making sure they fit flat.
So, I just finished cleaning up the legs a little because they were a little rough. The knots were just like a bit lumpy. So, I straightened them out, took them down a bit. They were all slightly different sizes because I took it from a tree. So it's like the top part of the tree is a bit thinner than the bottom part of the tree. So I evened them out. They're looking a lot better now. And now this string is where I want the circle to be, the footrest, not the, yeah, footrest. And now I'm gonna cut it out.
It was a bit tricky finding a log with the right diameter, but I ended up using the wood that I cut at the start with the rotting middle.
Oh man, don't do that.
I was thinking just sanding would be fine, but the chainsaw left such a rough edge, so I brought out the planer.
All right, so I'm done sanding finally. This thing isn't attached yet, but it's just kind of held in place by friction. I'm really liking it now. It's coming together. Next thing to do here is to attach the bark back on. I think what was the problem was that this was lying on the ground. The log was. This side was in the earth, getting all muddy and rotting. Stuff up top was getting baked by the sun. That's why it's so hard. I can't even like pull it off. But the difficult part is that it's like a maze, not just like putting 2 flat pieces together. There's like gaps and dips and it would be a wee bit tricky. So the plan is to make a sawdust wood glue concoction and then kind of fill all those gaps. Now, it's just a bit of a jigsaw getting these back into place because I didn't label them and there's just a few. We got this guy. Oh, I think I found one already, look at that. So, or does it go here? Nope. Could go there. Nope. Nope, that goes there. Nope. Yes, there we go. Oh, it's on the floor. going on? All right, so I found this awesome dowel. Ow, my finger. I am going to use this to attach this with this. Go. It's pretty tall, actually. Next, what I'm going to do is drill, and then taking this guy, we'll have our mortise and tenon. All done the mortise and tenons.
But unfortunately, while hammering in the last peg, the wood split. So I'll have to figure out some way to fix it. And
Now I'm going to make a little design on here. My original plan was to do a tree line of kind of like evergreen trees and cedars and some spruce in there. And I'm gonna stick to that. All right, so the wood burning went really well, actually. It looks beautiful. And next I'm going to fix that crack. Butterfly joint is done. I'm pretty happy with it. Some people can do it in like 15 minutes, but it does not take me 15 minutes. It's time to move on to the final wood burning. Pretty exciting stuff. I'm a little nervous. I don't want to mess everything up. I want to try to keep the design simple. I want to have it work with the grain of the oak. That is why I'm going to make a little sketch first. I'm going to get a big piece of paper that's the same size. I'm going to draw it all out.
and use graphite paper to transpose the sketch to the stool. I couldn't find any graphite paper though, so I'm going to try to make my own.
And then hopefully that will reduce any mistakes, or yeah, just draw it out. Kind of a smart idea. Brilliant. please. Please, 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 please. Let's go! The next part of the process is to do some staining with this little bit of tried and true tung oil stain. It's a mixture of some stuff. It's economical, environmentally friendly.
And now it is time to stain the wood.
Wait, what's that? Whoa. While the stool's drying, I'm gonna start on the hidden drawer. At first, I was planning on using some slide drawer gliders things. That would help it roll in and out. But the problem with that is that these look like they belong on IKEA furniture. So I'm gonna be making my own. I wanna keep the drawer fairly small and just keeping the essentials because I don't wanna be able to see it if you're just standing next to it. I've kind of ran into a little bit of a problem here. Apparently I didn't measure too accurately. There's like, it just barely fits. I was expecting this to take like a small amount of space, but it's actually taking like a good chunk of the stool, which is fine, which is fine.
The drawer is going to open by pressing a button. Pressing that button is going to push this other lever, which is going to push the stick, which is going to push another lever, which is going to open the latch and then shoot the drawer forward. I made all of the intricate parts out of some leftover ash that was lying around. It is a very strong wood, so hopefully none of these pieces will break.
So the opening mechanism is done now. It's pretty nifty. The next thing to do is add a spring that like launches the compartment forward. The only problem is I don't have a spring. So I could go buy one, which is a viable option, or I could make something in place of it. I think I'm gonna go that route. All right, let's give this a go. Goes to there. Oh, so cool. So the next thing I want to do is outfit this thing. So I want to make kind of little compartments for each thing. I want it to hold the knife, some pencils, a glove, and an eraser.